What's up, night viewer? I figure I'm gonna do this video. Well, first off, hope you guys have a happy belated holiday and also happy New Year. Now, since we're on this topic of New Year's right now, this is pretty much what my view and my opinion on what I hope to see happens within this new year. Now, this is not a resolution or anything. This is more like, some of the problems I had, just pretty much in terms of gaming, really. The problems I have in terms of the mentality. Matter of fact, I probably might as well start this as a new series, like stupid mentality. Actually got a nice ring to it. Anyway, here's what I mean. It is pretty much how people are, in terms of fanboying, uh, basically fanboyism, petty arguments or actions, or pretty much stuff that make me lose hope in humanity. And I'm just gonna I'm not gonna go through the whole list. I might split this up. Like I said, I really like that stupid mentality title idea. Anyway, in terms of gaming, here's what I mean. Now, you guys gotta understand, back when I was a little kid, I grew up in a generation where there were arcades, places to go where you meet people. Also, back then, the original Nintendo was out. And, of course, later on, Sega Genesis came to compete with them. But still, I played the Atari 2600 when I was little. But anyway, enough of that. The thing that I seen, well, last year, building up from how I compared it to how it was back when I was a little kid, is kind of frustrating. Like, for example, console wars, the PC elitists, the, fanboyism. It's like, it makes no sense. Back when I was a little kid, we would get a game 100% complete. Granted, yeah, it didn't give us many hours of gameplay compared to how it is today, but it was great. I've always loved finding hidden stuff or hidden room or having alternate costume when I'm playing fighting game or anything this and that. Like I mentioned, I used to go to arcades. I met some friends. I made friends through arcades. It might have been temporary. Some of it did last a lot longer. But when you're in there, everybody was equal. How do we get from, when gamers would be like cool, we're brethren? I mean, like, perfect example. Back then, I didn't have a Nintendo. I had a Sega Genesis or a Sega Master for those of you outside the U.S. My first actual console of my own, the Atari 2600 was my eldest sister. Yes, I have sisters and they gamers as well. She had the Atari. My first console was the Sega Genesis. I love the Sega Genesis. I still have it. It still works. It's not the smaller one. It's the original one. And like I said, it still works and I'm proud of it. But anyway, since I had the Sega Genesis, my friends on my street, that I would hang out with, they had the other console. Like, I had one friend that had the Nintendo, and I had the Sega Genesis. What did we do? We used to go over to each other's houses to play on the other. It gave us a reason or excuse to even spend the night, being friends, being gamers. He'd be like, yo, I got this game for the Nintendo. You want to come check it out, play with me? Sure. Hey, I got this game for my Sega. You want to come check it out? You want to play? It's like, that's the beauty of being diverse. The beauty of having different consoles. Instead of having console wars that we had, like I said, not this year because this is 2016 in the beginning, but what I've noticed in the past couple years, up to 2015, this whole Xbox versus PlayStation nonsense, or the whole PC thing. Whatever happened to gamers just enjoying the games? Now, I own consoles and I also own computer games. I actually have, I do have a gaming laptop, which is right here, but I use it for other means and other necessities, you know. And I also have a computer, which, is awesome. When it comes to the computer game, it is, awesome. I do plan on actually having one built. This one's already been, store bought. It's not mine. It's like, it's computer for the family that, everybody uses. But so far, it's good enough to play certain games, but not games that I would want to get. However, I do plan on building my own computer. But that's the thing, though. I like being diverse. For games, it's like it shouldn't. I mean, this whole console wars and this PC elitist thing. If you really think about it, you guys are just marketing. You're advertising. It's like who cares? If you really think about it, bottom line, you're using a device to pretty much run the game so you can have enjoyment and playability out of it. It's there for, to help entertain. Where all this argument come from? Oh, you're just a PlayStation fanboy. You're a Sony kid or you're a Sony lover. Shut up, Xbone or whatever. Okay, I will admit though, the whole DRM thing was kind of stupid. That was fucking ridiculous. But it's like the whole Xbox thing. Oh, you're a Microsoft dick rider or whatever. It's like all this stuff coming out of nowhere. And it makes no sense. Like, for example, how I mentioned earlier, games being complete. Now, with that being said, I will admit, I'm not a huge fan of DLC. I'm not. Because, and here's why, you gotta think of my mentality. When I get games from Steam, now, for those of you, we all know what DLC stands for. Digitally download. It's like a digital content download, or digital downloading content. Pretty much, yeah. Downloadable content. Which, in terms of Steam, is good for PCs or computer, laptop, it's, Steam. Awesome. I mean, here, I can even, let me shrink this down. I got vastly a lot of games right here. I don't want to show up too much of close up, but you guys get the idea. To me, Steam is a website, a web store that provides downloadable content in forms of game. So, in actuality and by technicality, any games you purchase off of Steam is a DLC, right? So, why is Steam providing DLC for their game that's already a DLC? Why the hell are you buying a DLC for a DLC? That's basically what I'm trying to get at. To me, it make no sense. So that's why I'm kind of like, obviously, there's pros and cons with DLC, but mostly I'm not that big gung-ho about DLC. I do have a lot more games. It's just, like I said, I have a computer and then of course this, but I use this for other means and function. But anyway, another thing, I have a lot of consoles. I got a Sega Dreamcast. I got the original Xbox. I got a PlayStation 2. I got a PS3. I got a PS4. I used to have a PS1, but when I bought a PS2, it pretty much made the PS1 kind of irrelevant in a way. So since it was backward compatible, and that's another thing. Why did we lose that? That's a good function. But anyway, I still have my Sega Genesis. I got a Nintendo GameCube. I have the PSP 3000 model. I even have the Nintendo DSxl. Yeah, I had to double check. They come out with so many DS's. It's like, whatever. Now, I like variety. I like being diverse. Now, some of you guys are probably like, well, why you got all those consoles? What's the reason for it? Is it for the exclusive? No, it's not. Believe it or not, I got though for like there be times when I'm in the mood, like say I'm in the store and I just happen to see a game and I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting. Let me look at it. Oh, okay, I want to buy it. But that game is for a specific console. I could be like, for example, it could be for, let's say, PS4. They'll be like, oh, it's for the PS4. I'll be like, well, hey, I got a PS4 at home. That's awesome. I'll just buy it, because it's right there. It's like at the moment. It's like I have the money to buy it. I'm right there. It's right there. Leisure, not a problem. If I'm at home and I'm bored and, obviously I'm playing video games, or if I just happen to be on Steam, depending on which, device I'm using, I will purchase game. Why? Because it's right there, It's the accessibility is right there. So my thing is, why can't we all just, why we gotta be so tribalistic instead of just being what we really are? We are gamers. We should be happy for the fact that we enjoy video game. It shouldn't matter what console or what computer or what RAMs or anything like that. We are all gamers. We could just all be appreciative. By technicality, if you want to break it down, all these consoles have computer aesthetics built inside them. They are made, when the developers or the creators make the console, obviously they design and everything on a piece of paper, but they use a computer to lock up the mechanism to build up, everything out from there. So in a way, each console has a computer-like component built in them. They all have a mother drive like a computer, but they're built for home-based play. Same thing with the handheld. I'm a huge fan of handheld gaming, which is another thing. Why it seems like there's only a small number of us handheld gamers. Like everybody always be like, oh, Nintendo's awesome. PlayStation's awesome. No, Xbox is awesome. And us handhelds like, well, there's PSP and DS, and okay, we'll just let you argue, And then, of course, you got PC players, which, again, I have nothing against all of them because, believe it or not, I am all those things. I like PlayStation. I like Xbox. I like Nintendo. I like PC. I'm all for. But it seems like I said, I'm not going to jump in an argument and then all of a sudden be like, oh, you're just a Sony lover. You got more Sony than Xbox. It's not my fault people buy me gifts. The only thing I probably went out of my way and purchased for myself was, okay, the Sega Genesis was a gift. I was a little kid. I loved it still. With the PlayStation 4 and the PS3. The reason why I bought those was because when I was in the store at the time, they were on sale, and I always do research on products I'm about to buy, because at the time I didn't have the money to buy both a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360. It's not going to work. Plus, I got family members that actually already purchased an Xbox 360. So, back again from what I used to do as a kid, where I would have the Sega Genesis, and my friends would have the Nintendo. My family members got an Xbox 360, I got the PlayStation 3, and we always visit each other to bond by playing games. Shocker. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with that? Why people gotta, like I said, be very tribalistic about, with this argument, especially when PCs, gamer comes in, like, well, the graphics look shit on those games. I thought video games was meant to be played. I mean, one of my favorite games for the Sega Genesis is Lightning Force. Well, Lightning Force, how it's properly pronounced. Back then, graphically nice. Today, it's still beautiful, but guess what? It's pixel. It's not badly pixel, but it's pixelated. So, you mean to tell me, and plus some of the most popular games on Steam are pixelated. So, and plus some of these games that they sell on Steam, you can actually purchase on console. So what's wrong with, you know, expanding, it's like graphics is not always everything. It's all about the gameplay, the story, pretty much the lore, the whole lore of the game, the whole package. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I see it. It's all about the game and the enjoyment you get out of it. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. Some of the popular games I'm not a huge fan of. For example, the Wolverine Origin, the one that came out for the PS3, the Uncaged edition, where the best Wolverine variant. I got bored out of my fucking mind with that game, but I played it from beginning to end. I beaten it, and you can even ask some of my friends. I mean, one of them is, on YouTube right now. Goes by Viola Blue, or you know him as Treasure Fan 02. He can testify to it. I contacted him. I was like, dude, I just beat this game. Guess what I'm about to do with it? He's like, what? Trade it. That I just couldn't. I mean, and the sad thing was, when I bought the PS3, I bought it late. I didn't buy it in the beginning. But when I had purchased it finally, it was one of those things like, oh, it was on my checklist of game to get, which explains why I have a massive backlog behind me. And believe me, there's more backlog because, like I said, all the consoles I have games, and it's like, I enjoy it, but there are moments when I look at my backlog like as if it's a job where I'm like, but seriously though, it's like, this is what I want to see. I want to see that stupid mentality be gone within this, like, this is the new year. How about instead of us having this console wars or PC elitists or, handheld fighters or whatever, why don't we just actually be what the fuck we are? Gamers. Why don't we just appreciate the fact that, hey, that game's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I got it for this system, and then not have a whole debate about, oh, you should have got it for this, or you should have just been like, oh, well, that's cool. I mean, if the developer decides to do like something different for each system, like the consoles or the PC, like something added or something taken away, have a nice discussion and talk about it and be like, oh yeah, come over and check it out, or whatever. What's wrong with that? Like I said, I mean, this whole internet thing, all you guys are doing is being advertisers, marketers. That's all you're doing. You are advertising something that you don't own. Well, yeah, you bought it, you own it, but it seems like you gotta have a reason or excuse of your own purchase. You don't have to defend the reason for the purchase. We're just having a decent discussion. How about we just talk about the games and actually having fun with it without actually going through all this whole, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. Where all this tribalistic shit come from? We are all gamers. No reason for it. But then again, it's the humanity. Humanity kills me sometimes. Stupid mentality.